last fortnight completed 10 years of an atrocious crime against a young girl, Nirbhaya, that created and triggered a furore, a nationwide furore in this country. 10 years down the line, it still continues to haunt many in this country. At a time when a release of a promo of a movie Pathan has also triggered a furore, joining me today on the show of Crossfire is an author, historian, and the Central Information Commissioner, Mr. Uday Mahurkar, who has released a video featuring a young girl who calls for ashleelta and questions that ashleelta in that video.
पीछे वाले जादूगरों की बहुत बड़ी फैन हूँ। इतनी अश्लीलता कहाँ से लाता है आप लोग? न मेरे शरीर की कोई रिस्पेक्ट, न मेरे मन का कोई मोल। बस गंदगी में लिपटे हुए निरर्थक शब्द और निर्वस्त्र दृश्य। इसे आप कहते हैं कंटेंट? आप तो देखने वाले अपराधियों को उकसाकर चले जाते हैं, पर बलि चढ़ती है हम बेटियां, 3 साल की, 8 साल की, 12 साल की बेटियां।
Many millions have also begun to join Mr. Mahurkar on this campaign to understand what is this campaign about and why it is creating a nationwide furore is Mr. Mahurkar himself. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mahurkar. Many congratulations for actually releasing this campaign, a very poignant campaign at a time when India has just completed 10 years of having witnessed that crime. Fresh from the wounds of that crime, I actually want to understand from you, Mr. Mahurkar, what was the purpose and what remains the objective of this campaign when you released that video featuring a young girl?
It's now 18 years since I first took up this issue, at a personal level. My point is that content creators, in the name of creativity, are dishing out sexual perversion, which has only increased over the years. 18 years ago, my concern was a film called Jism. Thereafter, things have only worsened on this front. Nirbhaya's own mother, Asha Devi, last week, when Nirbhaya case completed 10 years, shocked everybody by saying that rapes have only increased. She said, when the entire nation came out in support of my daughter, I thought rapes would decrease. They only increased. And I think the form of rapes you see today are even more horrendous than before. You see young infants being raped.
Mr. Mahurkar, my question to you in that case is, of course, your video seems to be very poignant when you released, I believe, last week in Bhopal. The video features a young girl who first says, "Bada maza aata hai," and then she questions the ashleelta. She almost starts weeping in that video, which is a very disturbing video in many ways. I want to understand, when you say that the rapes have increased or risen in this country, who do you actually blame for these rapes?
I am blaming the sexual perversion being dished out on OTT, social media platforms, films, and of course pornography promotion. That is the main reason.
But then many would ask us, and even you directly, the problem and the onus then lies, if the problem has been identified, then the onus lies either with the regulatory bodies or the absence of such regulatory bodies.
No, regulatory bodies are doing their job. The new law on digital content, which is yet to be implemented, is quite strong. For the first time, when the producer will be under the radar for this, My point is, as a nation, we have to unite. Because this content, take for example, Facebook. I think every second person, almost every person uses Facebook today who is educated, who is going to school for that matter, correct? Using smartphone.
Right.
Now you see the most obscene content on Facebook. They show short films showing sexual perversion between father-in-law and daughter-in-law, teacher-student, sister-in-law, brother-in-law. My point is, if there is an 18-year-old boy or 16-year-old boy who is from a village and he comes to study in the city and stays as a paying guest at somebody's home, correct? There is a lady there who is middle-aged, good-looking, When he comes, he sees that lady as a sister or as a mother. When he sees such content, he is just 16, 18 years old. Then what is the result? It is obvious. So basically, it is destroying the society. So I have launched a campaign in Bhopal last week.
Ji.
The campaign is Save Culture, Save Nation campaign.
Right.
It is a call to retrieve the nation from the menace of rapes and attack on our civilization by misuse of OTT, social media platforms, films, and pornography promotion. And through this campaign, you see, this is a campaign which cuts across all lines. It's one issue which can unite the nation the way corruption united the nation in 2011. Because it's a demon. It can enter any house. Last week only, one 15-year-old girl was raped by 8 people over a period of 12 hours. I came to the office, I asked my people, it was there in newspapers, Nobody even cares today, We have lost the sensitivity. And when we say that we will become Vishwaguru, Vishwaguru has a spiritual element. So India cannot become a great nation without curbing this menace. And countries like Dubai, Singapore, China have been able to curb this through stringent actions, through use of technology.
If the problem is being identified, the problem lies with soft pornography or pornography being featured in some of these films or OTT. Does the onus lie on actors like Deepika Padukone or Shah Rukh Khan for that matter when they do a song or a sequence like Besharam Rang? I'm not saying whether the color saffron is being looked at or looked down upon in that sequence. Does the onus actually lie on these actors, or the onus lies on the film producers, the directors, the lyricists?
The onus lies with everyone who is part of creation of content.
Such as?
I mean, if you take OTT, then Netflix, MX Player. If you talk about social media, then Facebook, Instagram, and films also.
But then the point of contention for them is that they are just social intermediary. They are just intermediary.
No.
Why should social
That's a wrong argument. That is not. You are selling sexual perversion in the name of creativity and content. That is the main issue in this whole thing. And it is directly linked to rape. There are studies available. There's one very well-known rapist, I forget his name, in US, who was sentenced to death.
Right.
He said that he used to rape, kill, then he used to feel slightly bad about it. Again, he used to see pornography film. Again, he used to do it. He said pornography was the main reason behind his actions.
Correct.
And there are several studies also. Only thing that here it's a industry which is, some say 20,000 crores, some say 40,000 crores, some say 80,000 crores. It's a big industry that money is going to every section of the society.
Right.
It is going to media also, for the matter.
Right.
The money which is getting circulated by this content, by these content creators, it is going everywhere. So, for example, take the ads which you see in condom ads which you see in news bulletins or news channels, Now, showing a simple ad about condom is fine, but they show very intimate scenes. Now, if a father and daughter, mother and daughter are sitting, you are showing a condom ad, fine. But what about those scenes which are being shown? And my point is, I won't name anybody, the day a porn star was given legitimacy by Bollywood, I think that day the situation had become more worse.
But then the point is this, that Mr. Mahurkar, prostitution has also been part of the Indian society for ages. If
No,
prostitution has been an
prostitution is
accepted...
part of the world, not Indian society. I agree with you.
No, because you're mentioning that porn star was given legitimacy by the Bollywood.
Something you see, something which is happening in some corner.
No, I'm just
And
being a devil's advocate here. That my question to you is that for a minute, let's accept the fact today. Let's try to reconcile with India's evolution as a society that prostitution was something which was also present in and has been mentioned in many of the epics of Hindu religion. So if that has been present and prevalent in the society during those eras, then why should India not accept a porn star being accepted by Bollywood?
Prostitution has been there for...
It's not that I'm against. I'm
prostitution
against
has been
any
there
of-
for thousands of years,
I would
not
ra-
only in India,
I would
across
rather-
the world.
I would rather prefer that prostitution is ended.
Do you want to allow it in your house? That is my point. Prostitution is certainly condemnable.
No, I'm just being a critic.
But
here
the
because, of
point is,
course-
do you want to allow that culture to enter your house?
right.
So I am making a distinction between that and what is being done now. Now you see, OTT, you can't see, most films you can't see with your children, even for 10 minutes. They're full of abuses, full of sexual perversion. So I think nation has to unite and rise against this menace. And if I am very clear, if India wants to become a great nation, it has to curb this. And there are places where it has been achieved. At least largely, if not completely, Dubai, as I told you, Singapore, I told you, China to a great extent. They have been able to do it.
Able to do what?
They are able to curb this menace by use of technology, by clamping down on certain things which are connected with this industry.
Which also sort of brings me to another question, which I'm actually curious to know. When you take your attack to the industry perpetuating rapes or perpetuating pornography, which leads to such crimes, whether against minors or adults, women, do you also sort of agree or do you concur with many in this country waging a war against Bollywood, saying that there is a distortion of Bharatiya Sanskriti due to which rapes, molestation were rarity for 1,000 years but were given a clandestine cover by the scripts which sort of generated crimes against Hindu women at large, or where attempts were shown in the movies that crimes were committed by many such people who were against Hindutva being established in this country. Do you actually believe that?
You see, Hindutva is a term which does cover culture, But here I am raising a much different issue. I am linking this sexual perversion to rapes, correct? And I am asking the nation to unite. And I feel this is an issue which touches everybody, whether he is a Hindu, whether he is a Muslim, whether he is a Christian. And let us not forget, Christian religion has laid great emphasis on personal character. If you read Bible, there is great emphasis on personal character.
So would you not agree that there are cases? There are
No,
cases
it is
of-
there in every book. But I'll go further. Now, Christian nations, they accepted this kind of false liberalism. And today, where they are, just see. They might, I mean, in terms of corruption, they might be cleaner nations, When it comes to this thing, it's bad.
But then let's accept for the fact, pornography largely emerges from the West.
Absolutely.
It's the West which promotes pornography.
Absolutely.
And has...
What I am saying is, most of them are Christian nations. In Christianity, there is great emphasis on this particular aspect. But they allowed such false liberalism to enter the society, and look where they are now. They are content creators, of porn.
So where do you think at the moment the nation needs to solve this problem? Who are the dramatic personae of this entire problem which you think should be part of, where you want to shoulder the responsibility? Are the people in the government machinery that you would want to engage with, or are these private people that you would want to engage with to look out for?
You see, I have
Control this.
raised an issue. I have showed the pathway in one sense. And I'm going to meet all the top people, particularly the spiritual figures.
Such as?
I'm going to meet Swami Ramdev. I will meet Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar. I am going to meet Avdeshanandji. I am going to meet Swami Chidanandji. I am going to go to Hardwar. I am going to meet people who hold the reins in Gayatri Parivar. There are many organizations in Mathura, in Varanasi. I am going to reach out to them. I am going to meet them personally. I'll write a letter to them, because they can play a very big role,
Why not the government?
No, I'm going to approach everybody. But since it is about creating awareness, government, I understand they are doing their job. And when I went through the new law to curb OTT and digital platforms, that law is quite strong. And what further needs to be done, government also do, But my point is to unite, spread awareness and unite the nation. Even Asha Devi, mother of Nirbhaya, she said that she expressed shock that rapes have actually increased over the last 10 years, but she didn't have the solution. She didn't know as to why it is happening. So I am showing the pathway. I am taking you to the root cause which is leading to this menace.
Mr. Mahurkar, you interestingly talked about the movie Just 18 years ago, how it interestingly helped you develop a very, I would say, discerning view about what was happening in the film fraternity and now, of course, in OTT. I actually want to understand from you, do you really think that it's women like Bipasha Basu or Deepika Padukone that who have to be blamed because of?
See, I am not naming any particular person. I am talking about content. Content has to be healthy. We have to go back to films which we saw. Not all of them were good in 80s and 90s. And if there is a will, there is a way. Some people think that how is it possible? How can you turn the clock back? I feel you can. If you take up the mantra of Savarkar, which was nation first, and if you take a pledge in the school, all Indians are my brothers and sisters. You should have that feeling, that your sister is getting spoiled, your brother is getting spoiled. That feeling has to be there. That sensitivity is lost over the last 10 years, or has come down. Today, there is a toddler being raped, that news comes in newspapers, you are not shocked. 10 years ago, I still remember, we used to feel shocked. What is happening to this country and to this world?
Many would also ask you the question that because you took umbrage against pornography, you took umbrage against sexual predatorship or the way...
Sexual perversion.
Sexual perversion.
Being sold out as content.
Being sold out as content. Is your umbrage, is your criticism restricted to this sort of behavior on social media, OTT or film, or do you also accept the fact today that Bollywood, for a very long period, film fraternity, also promoted the use of drugs or drug-related crimes, which sort of perpetuated sex-related crimes in this
Bollywood certainly has to take part of the blame. I mean, I won't be able to name films immediately, but then I think there is any number of films in the last about 5, 6 years, 10 years, any number of films which promote sexual perversion, which promote drugs, as you rightly said. Bollywood has to understand that content creation, you see, there are good films which are selling even today. Tare Zameen Par sold. Chak De India sold. Some of the same people who are being accused of selling questionable content, they made good films also earlier. So good, that content is selling. PS1, for example, the new film on Chola period, very good film. Even RRR, lot of violence, but no bad scene. PS1, there was not a single bad shot, which you call sexually bad perversion, you know. So good content is selling. That is not the issue. So my point is, let us have healthy content. Healthy content also sells. And time has come to punish such people who are trying to earn money by selling sexual perversion as content.
In that case, I would also want to ask you and comprehend the fact that when you say that this problem needs to be definitely handled at a various level, whether the involvement or engagement with people with illustrious careers like Swami Ramdev, many such spiritual gurus, don't you agree with the fact that today many of the BJP MPs are also celebrities themselves, such as Mrs. Hema Malini, Sunny Deol? For that matter, when you have film fraternity representing in the government, in the past we have had Rekha ji, we also now have Jaya Bachchan. Do you not think
So
that?
I am not blaming the film fraternity.
No, I'm saying that do you not think?
I am blaming content.
No, my question is different. My question is that would you not agree that these people as member parliament should also be engaged in either being part of a committee where they can discuss on how to frame the regulation to control these issues?
It's a good suggestion. It's a good suggestion. Certainly we should approach them.
You think they should be approached?
Why not? Anybody who is willing to come on this platform, she is welcome. It's a very simple thing.
Correct.
Rapes have increased manifold, I thought, as I believe.
Right.
They are more horrendous now. Even tiny toddlers are being raped. Correct. So things have gone from bad to worse over the last 10 years. And the main cause I am again emphasizing is content.
But Mr. Mahurkar, let's for a minute also accept the fact, you being a former journalist before being part of the Information Commission, when you were a journalist, I'm sure that you understood the fact that when rapes were becoming a rage in Haryana under the then Huda government, whether it was because of the Khap Panchayats or because of the kangaroo courts or for that matter in many other parts of the country, it so often has become a political debate between one political party and the other, especially during elections. Does the onus today lie only on the content makers, not on the lawmakers?
What you're talking is an old phase now. The new phase is that the whole problem has become, there is a
Content-based.
horrendous this to it, you know.
So you would not agree with the fact
It's
that
not about parties, it's not about
rise in crime,
caste, it's not about...
rise in crimes is not because of the mishandling of law and order problem in this country anymore.
No. Law, as I told you, lawmakers will do their job. The society has to unite.
Correct.
That is my point. As you saw in the 2011 anti-corruption movement,
Ji.
the country rose. It made a difference. I think if today a government which is cleaner, it is there today, even that agitation had a big role to play.
So you want a similar agitation?
Agitation against content makers. That issue was against the then rulers. It is not about rulers here. It is about content makers. The roots are different. Problem is of the same level. Maybe this problem is more serious than that, you know.
So
If we lose humanity, there is nothing left.
but many would also ask this question to you, Mr. Mahurkar, that what is your locus standi in this case? What sort of challenges your mental faculties that this is a concern which needs to be taken care of
you see,
at a bigger stage where there's engagement
this
of
film which I
spiritual gurus?
released in Bhopal, it is done by a company called Moving Pixel. Let me share that experience with you.
Sure.
The creative director of this film, Vaishali Patel, has done a very good job of making this film, you know.
Right.
I had gone to my place, Ahmedabad, hometown, and there I went to meet them. This company is based there. I told about the whole problem, rape, the way content is linked to that, you know. She immediately got scared. She says, I have got 2 daughters, you know. And it appealed to her immediately. So now this film, my own, I tweeted it once, I tweeted it again today, we also have a national coordinator for this, people who want to get in touch. And I leave it very open-handed.
Sure.
People get in touch with me or Mr. Amit Singh, who is the coordinator, and we'll guide them, and they can launch something at their own level, Now that film, my tweet alone has got 6 lakh views, and it spread like anything, The latest report I have got is that it has been seen on various platforms by at least 66 lakh people in just 1 year. So that shows the involvement,
I believe that's...
And I have raised this issue as a citizen of this country. I believe in the ideology of Veer Savarkar. I believe this nation should become a great nation. That is its final destiny. And which has been in one sense predicted by Swami Vivekananda, Sri Aurobindo, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Paramananji, founder of Bharat Seva Ashram Sangh, my guru. All of them said this, that India is going to become a great nation.
So then, if India has to become a great nation, where do you think this campaign should take a shape as? How or what do you think this campaign will now take shape as from here on, now that you have launched a teaser of this in Bhopal?
I am confident it will get more and more support.
Such as?
It will. I'm going to meet people from all sections of the society. Yeah, people who command huge following, my own effort is a small effort. Once top people start speaking about it, then it will become a big thing, It has already become big. No, I see healthier content in future. If this campaign takes the shape I believe it will take, it will create pressure on the content creators,
Right.
For example, Facebook, these kind of films which are being shown, it should stop.
For a minute, many...
My question is to people who own these platforms at the global level.
So, Mr. Mahurkar, for a minute, let's also...
And do we want to create a situation where our future generation stops, पर स्त्री को क्या बहन और माँ के रूप में देखे ही नहीं? What kind of situation they want to create? My question is that.
So for a minute...
sexual perversion can lead to even worse situation than today if it continues, this whole thing.
What situation?
It can lead to a worse situation in future. It will deteriorate. If we don't stop this, content creators, it will further deteriorate. And that is my point. Do we want to create a situation where our future generation, if we doesn't look at a Parstri as a mother or a sister? You get my point? Sexual perversion can lead to anything in future,
So in that case, for a minute, let's try to drop your menu hat that you wear on yourself, which is an author and a historian. You being an information commissioner, I also want to ask you a very direct question. Do you or did you receive many such RTI appeals against the steps taken by the government or against the CBFC, that how many such films promoted soft porn, for that matter, how many OTT platforms in the past featured such soft pornography or perpetuated that, or for that matter, many of the short films or the films which were released on the OTT, the series which were released?
No, nothing such thing has come before me in the form of RTI. It is my own concern which has been there for the last 18 years, and I have seen situation deteriorate over the last 18 years. So I have come out as an individual, and I believe in nation first ideology of Savarkar. So I feel very strongly for the society. So it has nothing to do with my current responsibility as a Central Information Commissioner.
Right.
But some people ask me that you are a constitutional authority. Can you take up such issues? I say, I am first a citizen of this nation.
Right.
And if I am doing something which is for the good of the country, I retain that right. I am not violating any law. And as an information commissioner, you have to see my work at the Information Commission, which I have done reasonably well, maybe I think quite well.
Right.
In terms of disposal of appeals, in terms of quality of my orders,
Going back to the crime which I talked about, which sort of triggered a nationwide movement against rapes 10 years back, and the then UPA government, and it still continues to haunt, which I also mentioned in the beginning. Would you intend to also meet Nirbhaya's mother, Asha Kumari, at some stage?
No, she has already declared support. She was on a TV show last week, and both of us were there on the TV show, and she said that she supported me, and certainly I'm going to meet her, and I have already spoken to her on phone, and I would like to meet even some other people also who have faced this horrendous crime. I think it is a very powerful way of taking the message forward. But they are the victims.
And at this stage, you certainly believe that the content has to be curbed by one way or the other, either by this movement, the awareness campaign, certainly not by the law which exists in this country.
No, law, as I understand, for digital content, the law which is there in place is quite good, But I think government will take further steps. Government will do its job. There is a nationalist government in Delhi. I am very hopeful and confident that whatever further steps are needed, it will take. But you see, it's a societal problem also. For example, when I launched the campaign from Bhopal,
right,
there are some very good suggestions which came.
Such as?
Such as that parents and teachers have a very major role to play in this. One very pointed suggestion which came was that in all smartphones today, there is an application called parental control. So if you are giving a phone to a teenager who is not adult, you can operate that parental control, which will prevent such stuff from being shown, being shown on that device.
Right.
It's a good suggestion. It is there in almost all phones now, smartphones.
But do you think that, is it practically possible today for any parent to implement parental control in the apps or mobile phones or smart devices?
Parental control is one part. Another is, you have to tackle the child psychologically.
Right.
So this battle has to be fought on many fronts.
Right.
But I believe there are people who might say that we have lost this battle, we can't do anything. I don't believe that.
Correct.
I believe where there is a will, there is a way. And if you've taken a pledge in the school that all Indians are my brothers and sisters, then it is your duty to ensure that your brothers and sisters don't get spoiled because of these content creators.
So, which also sort of brings me to an interesting question, because you have talked about the need to bring this parental control. I also want to understand, there was a trend in this country when there was disparity in the gender ratio. Of course, we face this problem in many of the states which were in North India, such as Haryana and Rajasthan, where female birth was looked down upon. For me, as a journalist, if I were to be a parent, I would love to have a daughter any day compared to a son. Not that I'm averse to any idea, but I'll be very open to having a daughter. Do you also believe that when such incidents happen, when such crimes happen, does it sort of dissuade people from having a daughter?
No, I don't think so. I don't. There are many angles to this whole thing. One is rape. Another is sexual perversion, minus rape. That is also spreading. For example, there was one incident recently where an 8 or 9-year-old boy tried to rape a 3-year-old girl. This is perversion,
So it has got nothing to do with.
No, I don't think.
With
I think
not having
on sex ratio things have improved. Even Haryana, I think things have improved, and things are improving. I think there are much less number of people who think that they should have only a son and not a daughter. Number of such people thinking has come down substantially. I don't think it has any connection with this.
You have a daughter too.
I do have, yeah.
Of course, I want to congratulate you, Mr. Mahurkar, for this lovely campaign which has picked up pace, a giant pace on social media. And I also want to compliment you for taking up this cause. On this note, I would leave you with a bright prospect of seeing this campaign taking up the shape in this country in the form of a movement. So that was Mr. Mahurkar joining us on this special edition at a time when India has just completed 10 years of a nationwide movement that triggered a furore in this country 10 years ago. Thank you, Mr. Mahurkar, for joining us on this show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.